Hello everyone and welcome. It's Shanna. Now it is club time. I've got some club kits of the month from Spellbinders. We have got the BetterPress and it is called Made with Snowflakes. And it is these cute snowmen that are just pictured all over the background panel. We've got one with his head and his hat off. We've got these sentiments made with love and snowflakes. We've got Let It Snow, and we've got Sending Frosty Wishes. So this is just super cute, those little snowmen. And it's just really kind of kind of a plain drawing. And I just think it's super cute. So we're going to press this and we're going to glimmer it both. And next we have the To You and Yours clear stamp and die of the month. We've got the tree that says A Very Merry Christmas to You. We've got Cozy Wishes from Our Home to Yours. We've got All Is Merry and Bright. The Best Gifts Can't Be Wrapped. Merry Christmas to You. Wishing You a Christmas That Feels Like Home. We've got Christmas Blessings to You and Yours, and we've got Wishing You a Season Full of Wonder. And those are all the sentiments that are included in the clear stamp and die of the month. And we've got the dies to die cut out the tree and all of the sentiments. And then we have the Glimmer press plate is called Magic Wonderland, and it's got like snow and stars and hearts, and it's just really, really cute. And there are 4 different sentiments that come with it, and you can press those. You've got Joyous Noel, Sending Christmas Magic, Sparkle, Let It Snow and Sparkle, and there's one other one. And those are the sentiments that go with this set. So I'm going to turn the Glimmer on. We've got it on. It's heated up, and we're going to get our plate laid down on there and just get started pressing. So I've sped this up for the assembly, just the various elements of the video, because was kind of a longer video. So I've got this silver sparkle glimmer there, and we're going to use this for the Glimmer plate, and we're going to bring in some indigo cardstock, and I'm just looking to make sure that I know which one I'm using. I was trying to talk through it, and then I realized it wasn't working, so I decided to do a voiceover. So I'm just going to lay this indigo on there, and I'm afraid that it's going to move on me, so I will bring in some tape and tape it down. So we'll get this laid down on there. You can see my plates are well loved. I've got both of them are messed up where I've got Glimmer on them, but they work just fine. And you can clean them up with a magic eraser. So while we're waiting for that to heat up and be ready, I've turned the button on for the timer. I'm going to bring in the stamp set, the clear stamp and die of the month, and I'm going to stamp out that Christmas tree and one of the sentiments. I'm going to get my little waffle flower mat tucked in there a little bit better. I'd had it out using it to ink blend the other day, and I didn't get it back in there quite right. So we'll bring in that big Christmas tree that says, Merry Christmas, a very Merry Christmas to you. And the To You is kind of fun. The To You is actually the trunk of the tree. I thought that was kind of cute and different. And then we're going to bring in one of the sentiments and get it stamped up. And for this, I'm just using some Breeze cardstock from Spellbinders. So we're using the indigo and then the Breeze. And I'm going to bring in some of my Distress Oxides. I've just got prized ribbon there. I'm going to kind of keep with a blue scheme. I thought I thought we'd take a break here and we'd go ahead and press this because our Glimmer machine is ready to go. And so we're going to get this panel pressed and we'll be good to go. So look at that. Isn't that wonderful? It looks beautiful. Just full of all the sparkle and shine. Now, while this is hot, I'm going to bring in the other plate, and I'm going to get it pressed. We're going to use the BetterPress plate, and we're going to glimmer it, and we're going to use some opal glimmer foil for it, and we'll get it laid down on there. Now, I think I lose the footage of the pressing of this, running it through the machine. And then I don't think I get the footage of me better pressing it either. But we will have both of these panels to work with at the end, when we get ready to assemble the cards. So I'm just going to get this all set up and ready to go through there. And then we will move on to some other elements of our card while it's heating up. So I'll just get everything out of the way so I've got some room to work. We're going to bring in the stamp set again, and we're going to ink it up and get it pressed. And it is a new stamp. I haven't used it, so I'll ink it 3 times and just make sure I get a real good coverage on my tree and my sentiment. And to save time, I just cut out all of the different presses that I did, and I'm showing you just one. But anyway, it is inked up beautifully, and it's ready. It'll be one of the focal points on one of our cards, and I think it looks really, really pretty. So I'm thinking that my machine's ready, but it's not quite ready. It wasn't flashing yet, so I'm going to just move on, and I was fanning it just to make sure the ink is dry, because I'm going to go ahead and lay the dyes on the panel, and I didn't want to smear my ink. So we're just going to get these elements die cut out, and then we'll come back in and start working with our cards. I'm going to tape them down just so that they don't move. It's pretty tight. The die fits very nicely around there, and so I wanted to get it lined up right and get it taped down so it doesn't move on me when I run through the die cutting machine. Sometimes I'm lazy and I don't do that, and I don't always get the best results, so taking the time to do it here. So I've got those die cut out. I went ahead and stamped a couple more sentiments, thinking that I might use them or need them, and so I'm going to go ahead and get them die cut out as well. We'll just get all these die cut out, and then we'll have all of the elements for our card, and we'll come back in and do some assembly. Okay, so we've got all of our panels. We've got our glimmered BetterPress, our glimmered Glimmer, and we've got the BetterPress pressed. So I'm going to start working with this one first. This was the Glimmer plate, and we're going to get it laid down. It was A2 size that I used, the panel that I used, and we're just going to lay it down on our card base and just let it cover corner to corner. And I've got some silver metallic cardstock from Spellbinders, and I think it's 2 1/4, I don't know. And I've made a white panel that is actually I think it's 1 3/4, and the white panel is 2 inches. And I'm just going to layer them up. I wanted the silver because of the foiling that we did, and then I'm using the white because I'm going to bring in some floral and die cut elements in white that will ink blend on, and I think it'll just tie the elements together. So I had to straighten that up a little bit, and I'm giving it a good press, and we're going to get it laid down on our card base, and it'll just kind of re-emphasize the silver that we have got on the silver foiling that we have on our plate. And then we've got our Christmas tree that's going to be our focal point. I'm going to bring in some foam. We'll get it popped up and get it laid down on this strip of silver. And then we're going to bring in some elements to adorn it and just really kind of jazz up the card even more than what we've got. So we'll get this tree laid down on there. And it looks nice, but I want to bring in some more stuff. So I'm going to bring in the Christmas foliage die set that I have. And it's really, really pretty. And I've just cut everything out in white cardstock, all of the dies that were included in that. And I'm just taking that prized ribbon, and I am just ink blending on all of the elements and getting them ready so that they'll kind of tie into what I've got going there. And I could have used the breeze on there and then added some of the prize ribbon, and that might have been interesting as well. That was kind of an afterthought I had, but I just took the white and just die cut everything out a couple of times and thought we'd ink it up. So we're just going to add these, and I'm going to get a little carried away and kind of busy, but I think it's going to be really pretty when we get it all assembled. So I'm going to layer these flowers up. I'm going to bring in some foam tape and pop it up. And then we'll just start kind of clustering them up and getting them laid down on our card base. And I just ink blended the centers of them just to give them some color, but still showing quite a bit of white on there. And I've just got some little black foam squares that I'm using just to pop up and give them a little bit of dimension. And I colored the centerpieces in, and we're just going to lay them down on there. And we've got our floral elements. And we've got several leaves. And then I've got a stemmy one that has some like bulbs that I have blended, and I'm going to get them laid down on there. I will get them stuck to my fingers and have a terrible time getting them positioned on there, but eventually we'll get there and we will have another little floral element that we can put on our card. Here, they're sticking to my fingers, the glue's everywhere. And I'm like, eventually, after I fool with this quite a while, I'll grab my tweezers, and then that will help me to avoid getting everything stuck to my fingers. Just trying to get them lined up on there the way that I like them. And then we'll get them laid down on there. There we go. So now we've got another floral element that we can add, and we've got all of those leaves, and we're just going to start clustering and tucking, and I'm going to fiddle around with it for a little bit, and then I'll figure out what I want to do. I'm starting here at the bottom. I'm like, no, let's start up there at the top and bring my flowers in. So this is where we'll start just layering them up and just clustering them and creating a little swag type look at the top of it. And I'll continue adding to it because I'm going to use most of this that I've die cut out and inked up. I think at the end, I'll even put one of the leaves on the inside with this sentiment. Just kind of errant, just kind of stray by itself. It probably would have worked better if I had another floral for it. So I'll just continue clustering this and getting another flower laid down, and then we'll put something at the bottom there. And I think it's pretty. I think it just adds a little bit more to the card. Probably not necessary. You could really let the clear stamp of the month stand alone, but I just decided I've got all these things. I need to play with them, and I thought it'd be fun just to add some extra elements to it and just make it just a real pretty card. So I'm going to cluster these up. You can see I've got that one leafy stem there, and that's the one I'll use to put on the inside of it. I wind up hacking this thing up so that I can tuck it in, and then a couple of my flowers get loose, and I'll have to glue them back down, but we'll have a nice little cluster for the bottom. And here's where I'm going to take and glue that one down, and then the other one that's fallen off, we'll glue it down as well, and that way we can use all the floral elements. Then we're just going to tuck it. And of course the tree has the sentiment on it, and so we don't need anything else on the front of our card. I'm going to trim off the bottom of that, and then we're going to bring in our sentiment for the inside of the card, and then I decided to just grab that leaf and stick it on there. And like I said, it probably would have been pretty if I had another flower, so I might die cut out another flower and tuck it on there. But we'll just get that laid down on there. And we've got our card, and I think it looks really pretty. So we're going to move on to our next card, and we're going to use both of these panels, the BetterPress in which I glimmered it, and then this one here where I pressed the prize ribbon ink into it. And I'm just going to cut it down to 4 by 5 and 1/4. And we're going to get it laid down on our card base. And I start to lay it down on the card base, and then I remember, no, I have a panel that I'm going to lay it on. And this is another one of those indigos. And when I first glimmered it, the BetterPress plate, I had the foil upside down, and so I had it pressed in there. And so I'm going to use it. I'm not going to waste it. You won't see that pressing around the edges, but it'll give me that color behind there that I need. And so the second panel that I glimmered, and I got the foil on there right, is this one. And I'm just going to use bits and pieces of it. I'm bringing in the Documenting Labels die set, and I'm going to use this tag, and I'm going to die cut out just a little cluster of those snowmen just to kind of bring them back in the indigo. I'm also going to bring in a circle one because I thought I could use it for something else later. There was some overfoiling on this, and so I'm picking out specific areas where it looks really nice, and I'm die cutting that out and using those for these little, the little tag and the little circle. And so we'll go we'll go ahead and die cut this out, and then we will use these on our second card. And we kept our color schemes the same so it'll look good for the pictures. And I've got my little circle there. And previously, I took some of the mirrored cardstock, the silver mirrored cardstock from Spellbinders, and I used the die and trimmed around there, and I left some, I trimmed widely around the die, and it's way too big here. So what I'm going to do is I'll lay the indigo panel down on the silver, and I'll trim around it. But before I do that, I'm actually decided that I want another layer. So I'm going to use the silver and trim around some vellum, and then we'll cut the silver down. It was kind of an afterthought, and it just popped into my head as I was working with it. So I'm going to lay this down there, and I'll just trim around it. And then we'll have a vellum layer, a silver metallic layer, and then our indigo layer, and we can just layer these up, and it'll just add some extra interest to the card. So I'm going to get this down there, and then I'm going to take my Tim Holtz scissors and just go ahead and trim around there again. And just kind of get a little edge on there. I just felt like it was too wide with the silver. It's probably too wide with the vellum as well. And I thought about trimming it down again. And then I thought, no, this is our focal point, and we're going to add a bow to it. And so I think it'll work out okay. We're going to also add our sentiment. So it'll just kind of ground it on our panel. So I think it's kind of fun to use the BetterPress image here and also the Glimmer image, and just kind of layer them up and just kind of create a fun element. So we're going to use that. I'll save the circle for later. I'm going to bring in this silver DMC twine from Spellbinders. I've created a bow. I'm going to get some tape runner and some glue on here, and we'll just lay it down on our card base. We'll add our bow and our sentiment, and we'll bring in some of those Spellbinders gems, and it'll create a cute little card. It's a lot simpler. We've kind of got a busy card with the Christmas tree and the florals, and then we've got a very simple one here. I'm going to bring in the tape runner just to get me some sticky, put a little bit of glue on there, and tuck it down. We'll trim up the edges to our bow, and we'll get our sentiment laid down on here. I'm going to pop up the sentiment. I've got some narrow foam tape. We'll just use it. Get it laid down on there. And we're going to bring in these gems. I just got a bunch of gems. I shopped the embellishment cell and picked up several things. I was trying to get it out of there, and one came off on my finger, so I'm just going to stick it down there, and then we'll continue to try and get it to come out. And we will start adding some gems. We're going to add some to both of our cards. I put another little dot of glue on there. I'm going to use one of the bigger gems on the bow just to add some extra interest and sparkle. And we'll slap down a couple more of these, and we'll have some sparkle to this. It is kind of a plain card, so we can add some extra embellishments. I've got another one stuck to my finger, so I'm going to stick it down there. And that'll finish off this card. I think it looks nice. And we're just going to grab a couple of those gems and put them in the center of the florals on our other card. And then that will pretty much wrap up that one. And I think we've got two really pretty coordinating cards for Christmas. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye now.